Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. Starting a new series here. Well, I'm probably going to make it just one video, but we're starting on the engine cover. What I'm going to do is I'm repowering my my StarCraft boat. And we're going to start by making the new engine cover. We're going to start by making the engine cover look new again. It's got some dings and stuff on it. You got to change that to 40 horse because the boat's only rated for 40 horses. But yeah, I want to smooth this all out. And I got some fiberglass Bondo because I think somewhere on here there's like a chunk on it taken out of it. So yeah, right there. Dropped it and scraped it around. It's a 1984 Johnson 70 horse. It's a 3-cylinder. I'd show you guys everything, but it's like blowing like crazy outside, so I'll show that later on. Well, I got the emblems off. This one, all the little legs popped off and busted. Broke all of them, but this one I got all off fine, except for one, so that's all right though. I could probably glue these on somehow. Got to figure out what I'm going to do for this one to make it look nice. This one I think I'll just tape off the edges real nice and spray paint this inside silver after I get it cleaned up, obviously, and then I'll just put my 40 horse sticker on there. That's what she is. It's going to be a 40 horse. Well, I got one side, all the stickers removed, so I got to get the gunk off of there. Now to do this side and the back. Alright, making good progress. Took off the rubber seal there. The old brake clean takes this stuff off real good and just spray her down and give her a good hosing and just start scraping it. Once it soaks in enough, it just comes right off. I already see it starting to work. Really don't take long at all. Lightly scrape it right off. Look at that. Brand new under there. Yeah. Be helping brake clean and get this all scraped off. Alright, well, spread it on some of that Bondo. Hopefully it dries this time. Second time I did it, I didn't put enough hardener in it, so hopefully it dries. I added quite a bit more and it actually changed color, so hopefully we're good this time. Then I can get back to sanding this crap down. And then I got high build primer, so hopefully this stuff will help smooth everything out, make a nice surface finish on it, but we'll see. Let that stuff dry. Alright. Got her sanded and body filler on there. Pretty dang smooth. So now we'll put some sandable primer on there and see how she looks after that. Probably sand the primer down some and move on. I mean, that'll be alright. It gets covered by the seal anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that stuff. Been a couple days. Primer's nice and dry. Now we gotta sand it all smooth. So you can still see like texture in it and stuff, so hopefully we can smooth it all out. And I noticed I got this little blemish there. I'm gonna have to fill that in with some more fiberglass Bondo, but other than that, she's looking really good. We'll get her all sanded up. All right, little update. There's the white. Can't really tell how white it is on camera, but it's white. So now I got it taped off. This is all gonna be the green. I decided to change what I was gonna do. We're gonna do kind of like the old 70 horse Stinger kind of color scheme where the whole sides are like, I think they were like orange. The whole sides would be orange. Yeah. Hopefully it turns out good. I'm gonna start spraying some paint. This is the top little cover. Fully painted. Now time to wet sand it and get out like all this little dust particles and stuff. But it's already, look at that shine. Can't wait to get rid of all the orange peel and stuff. Yeah, you can see it now with the light, how unsmooth it is, but it turned out freaking awesome. You guys ready for this? I was gonna make you wait, but I think it turned out freaking sick. Boom! Can see all the dang orange peel in it, but that should all come out with some wet sanding and then buffer. But yeah, I think it's gonna look freaking awesome on the boat. And then that little cover goes right there. So time to get sanding. Yay me. A little bit of an update. I got the whole thing kind of wet sanded, but apparently I didn't wet sand enough because you can see all the texture is still in there. So I'm gonna have to keep going on it, which sucks because it's just making a huge mess of everything. But that's all right. We'll get there. Well, starting to get a gloss to her. You can see it ain't perfect around the letters. If I did this again, I'd probably would have put the letters on after I cleared it, but too late for that now. But she'll look good at a glance. It's good enough for an old John boat. All right, engine covers pretty much all back together. It's looking real good. Now I gotta do these. These are the little end cap covers, so I got a couple stickers. So we're gonna do that cool Stinger one I found on eBay, and then we'll do a 40 horse on that one. And I just got some cheap gloss white paint that I'm gonna use on this. So I'll get this painted. Found this kind of interesting, taking out the old tack, taking the steering out too. You can change it for different motors and stuff with a little switch, but it looks like this has been replaced with a used one. It says good on it. Pretty sure it worked. I can't remember when I had the engine running, but I'll double check that it works before I drill a hole in my dash of the good boat. Everything's so rotted on this thing, so she might just end up going to the junkyard after I rip all the wood out. Who knows? I just can't see what the hell I'm doing. me up. What's another 100 pounds, right? It can hold it. Yeah. What's the worst that'll happen? Falls down? At least I'll have it on video. Gotta run through and disconnect everything. Got the shift levers here and the throttle cables. Gotta disconnect that stuff. Then looks like it's a couple of plugs on this side, this big one and all that stuff. Then she should be free other than I gotta unbolt it. Just 4 bolts. These ones are probably gonna suck to get to. I don't know, I mean, it's so far down in there. I'm gonna have to crawl in there and unbolt them. Maybe I'll start with that. Hopefully I don't gotta cut them. These top ones should be easy. There's little caps on them. So yeah, start unbolting this sucker. All right, here goes nothing. Gotta get these bolts out. Everything else is disconnected. Alright, we're getting the drill for that. It's gonna take way too long. Alrighty. Gotta keep my toes clear. Oh, I'm telling you, this thing's jamming up now. Wow. Definitely had some weight on her. Whoa, 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 girl, whoa. Alright, she's free. Let's hope she don't fall. I gotta push the boat out of the way. Get out of the way, boat. Get out of the way. Hopefully my stand works. She's home built. Not liking the way that looks. I'm gonna drill these holes quick and we'll put some bolts through, put those bolts back through it. Cause I don't trust her. Might slip off. Alright, she's on there. Let's let her down. Oh. Feels solid enough. I don't think it's gonna fall off, but you never know. Alright, then I was able to put those underneath it, and then I can roll it around pretty easily. There we have it. The new heartbeat is off. There's the waste of money I bought. Junk old Mercuries. Nothing beats an OMC, that's for sure. So over here taking out the controls and everything, and I found this old Menards ad. August 5th of 01. Could win yourself a brand new Ranger. Yeah. I bet these prices ain't accurate anymore. Door with a window for $140. Yeah, something tells me you ain't getting that. Garage door opener. Window for 70 bucks? Yeah, probably not. Alrighty, there's all the wiring, the battery, the motor. Now it's time for somebody to buy this stupid thing so I don't have to rip it apart and scrap it. But it needs to get out of my way, because it is in my way. Alrighty guys, got the good boat in here. Stock motor, the one we're putting on it. Quite a bit bigger. Little two-seater. Why are you laughing at me? Dork. So yeah, that's the boat. Gotta get this puppy ripped right off. That literally probably took 5 minutes to unhook the wiring harness, take off the ground wire and the positive wire and the 2 steering cables. And then it's just the hand tighten clamps to hold her on. So we'll loosen those out and set up the old come along and lift this puppy off of there. See what we're working with. Oh yeah, easy, easy, easy. Nothing fell. Yeah, there's a little bit of a size difference. I'd say quite a bit. That motor's gonna look massive on the back of this thing. It's gonna be like a true speedboat. Not looking too bad though. So now we gotta get figure out what we need to do with the transom. I wouldn't mind bracing it up some. Get all this crap out of the way. Probably put a bigger piece of wood on, or maybe even a plate of aluminum to spread out some of the weight. I do have this fancy thing. Got a 6-inch jack plate for the boat because the new motor is a long shaft. And my transom is only 15 inches, not 20 inches, so we gotta put a jack plate on there. So yeah, that's the side that goes to the boat, and then this side is the side that the motor goes onto. Kind of see how it looks up there. Something like that. Obviously we'll have to jack the adjustment all the way up, I'm assuming. Just to gain that 5 inches we need a height. Yeah, it's gonna look good on there. Nice and shiny. So I got the jack plate just kind of temporarily clamped on. Kind of about where it's gonna go. Got the side bolts all nice and loose. Anti-seize on the bolt right away. Let's go ahead and raise her up. Makes a heck of a racket. Are we all the way up? Yeah, I think we're all the way up. So yeah, that's how much higher it goes. It's supposed to be like 5 inches of lift, so that should be plenty. Man, thing's gonna look frickin' insane on there. Just the size difference alone is gonna be wild. I hope the DNR go along with the 40 horse that I claim it is. Otherwise I'm gonna have to change it. Got the tape measure out. I'm gonna try to measure it from the bottom of the boat. And it's kind of at an angle too, which doesn't help. Not quite 20, but it is sloping up some. So if we go, that's 16 to there. Yeah, it's at about 22 inches, so that should work. I'll have plenty of adjustment on all this, so jack plate will get us our height. Alrighty, waiting on a engine plate brace. It's gonna come down along here, and then towards the end here it's gonna taper out because there's no wood. The wood pretty much is only, you know, from here to there. So like these bottom holes aren't gonna really be in the wood. So, well, I guess they are kind of gonna be in the wood, but I want to spread the load out farther along the bottom here. So waiting on a plate for this and plates for the inside. So when I get that stuff, we'll actually get this motor mounted up. So in the meantime, I'm gonna put the steering in. That should be fun. Well, I had a thought this, or a slight chance this might happen. So I pretty much got the gearbox thing where it's supposed to be, and the cable is, you know, hanging way down right here, and it's nowhere near where it needs to be over here. So like, this would have to go pull way back into there. So yeah, this cable is not gonna work. It's just way too long. So I'm going to see if I can get a shorter one. Yay, spend more money. And just like the steering cable, the shifter cable and the throttle cable are too long. So popped it apart so I could see what the other ends look like, so I can get some new ones. So I'll have to order a set of those too. But I'm sure this costs a lot more than just, you know, if I were to buy everything, it's probably be pretty expensive, where cables are about 50 bucks a piece, so not too bad. Alrighty, parts are showing up. I made a brace for the motor mount, so drew that up in CAD along with these plates and had them cut them out at work for me. So that's pretty sweet, 1/4 inch thick aluminum. So this is gonna go on the transom, but in between the transom and the jack plate. So I gotta pull that off, get some holes drilled in this thing, start getting this thing mounted. Little tip for you: if you want a nice D-bird hole, just take a bigger drill bit and lightly drill it. Takes that burr right off of there. Perfect. Just like that. All right, so I just marked out my center line. I went off center of these 2 rivets for that one, and then up here I went off that rivet and that rivet. And then that got my center line, and then you just take a straight edge and follow it all the way up. There you go, center of the transom, because not really any square edges up here, you know, can only really go off those rivets. I guess you could go all the way out to these screws to get it, but that was easiest, so that's what we did. Alrighty, got the jack plate on there, just temporarily. It'll come back off to be glued for final assembly, but got it in there with the 4 bolts. We're gonna either do like 1 bolt in the center there on each side, and then I have those plates for the inside. Got these to go on the inside, help brace it. But yeah, so next clip should be us test fitting the motor on it. I can't do it right now because it's like downpouring out and storming, so. Alrighty, time to test fit the motor. She's a heavy girl. Show you meat on these bolts over here. So they're just slightly offset, so I'm not sure why they're like that, but so I don't know if the motor's not centered because of that. I need to take a little bit off of, you know, open up that side of the holes a little bit and then a little bit over here so she stays perfectly centered. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna throw the engine cover on and I'll probably put a clamp, just put a clamp on that side for now so it has something else holding it. Dang, she's looking good. Kind of hard to tell, but the color actually matches really good. The boat's just really dirty right now. But yeah, thing looks awesome on there. Can't wait to see how she rips. Looks like a damn speedboat. Alright, got the motor back off. She looks freaking awesome on there. Can't freaking wait. So with these holes, I don't know why they're slightly narrower. Maybe they changed this bolt pattern on newer motors. I mean, this thing is an 84, so it's not like it's brand new. So what I'm probably gonna do is just carve this in a little bit on each side, so then it kind of keeps it more centered. And then I think I need to do it on these holes down here, because the motor actually is the transom or the cavitation plate. This guy right here needs to be above the bottom of the boat. You need by like an inch, and right now it's like actually hanging down below an inch. So I'm gonna have to use those holes and the top holes, and then I was gonna use like this hole, one of these holes on here when I go to actually permanently put it on. So then this slit will actually have to use these upper holes, because I pretty much have this jack plate all the way up. Like it can't really go up any higher. Can't really see anywhere in it. Yeah, pretty much at the max it can go. So, but we're gonna get this thing mounted. Mount these up. There's a brace in here on the inside of the boat, so I'm gonna have to drill the holes for this to put those bolts all the way through this plate. And then I think we'll just do 1/2 inch bolt there and 1/2 inch bolt there, or maybe I'll do 2, but I'll do smaller than 1/2 inch. Maybe I'll get like 3/8, a couple 3/8 bolts in there, you know, side by side. I think would work all right. So yeah, that's the next step. Alrighty, used a little bit of CAD, made a little template of the inside. We're gonna snip this off here. I got my two holes there. This is that bottom hole in the transom. That's this hole here. So I might see if I can get it in frame. I might just drill another one. You know, I have 6 big bolts holding this thing on. And that way I'll have the bolt here will be connected to here. Help strengthen shit up even more on here. So yeah, get that plate cut and see if she fits. Alrighty guys, she's all glued on. And I almost made a big goof. I reused these 4 screws, and I forgot to take into account of the 1/4 inch thickness of this plate, but luckily they were just long enough to actually get on there. So yeah, hopefully she's watertight. I used a lot of caulk on there. This is what I ended up using. Total Tech all-in-one. It says it's used for like pools and stuff, so hoping it works good. You can see there. Works underwater, resistant to chlorine and salt water, although this will never see salt water or chlorine water. Yeah, should work. It says it turns white when it's touching water, but I think it'll be all right. So yeah, all glued in. I'll show you how the inside looks. All right, so here's what we got going on the inside. See them 2 screws coming through, and then the big one's holding the motor plate. And then I got those 4. Those are the ones that are just barely were long enough. So yeah, they could be a little bit longer, but they'll be just fine. It's at least got a full nut's worth of engagement. So yeah, fingers crossed for no leaks. All right, I didn't film the process of throwing the motor on there, but she's all mounted up on there for good, hopefully. I don't think it's gonna fall off. So yeah, I got my steering cables and throttle cables and all that stuff in, so hopefully this stuff fits. Let's get it out of the boxes. All right, well, sadly I ordered the wrong style cable. I had to return that for the steering, but I think we lucked out. That's a mile too long anyways. But I think we lucked out, and the control cables I think are going to be the perfect length. You know, once this is tucked up in there nice. Controls mount down over there. So what I'm going to do is get these new cables into here, and then we'll mount that sucker and see how everything looks. Cables are dialed for the throttle and gear change. Now we gotta mount this thing. I got a plate here because it's too tight to the piece of wood here. I need to space it off a little bit, so I might use that. Otherwise, I think the original bolts came with a bunch of washers too I could put in there, although they weren't stainless, so they do get all rusty. Ooh, that was loud. Yeah, this plate would work, although it's kind of hitting on this stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll just use those washers. It'd be a lot faster to put this on. All right, got the shifter all mounted up. The cables are up there, nice and neat. I could put these up a little bit farther, but then I don't have enough room to turn the motor all the way that way. They get too tight, so those have to dangle a little bit, but that ain't too bad. The big long wiring harness is going to be way too long, so how many wires are in this thing even? Ooh, it's quite a bit of wires. But I'm definitely going to probably cut and splice it so it's way shorter. Alrighty, don't have much parts in, so we're gonna start on the wiring. I got the tack that came from the donor boat, and then I want to also put in a GPS speedo. So got to find some mounting holes. Obviously one's gonna go there. Maybe I'll do the GPS here, probably right there and there. Take care of that ugly hole if I can. Oop. It's a 3-inch hole saw, so I don't know if that's gonna. It might just barely cover up that whole hole. Problem is this is loose, so that's gonna probably rip off. But I'm gonna need something in there to support the pilot bit. So there we go. Found a piece of wood. This will work for a little pilot bit on for the hole saw. Put these screws in here real quick. Hopefully they're not too long. That would suck. Maybe my foot can hold that. Maybe. No, loose. That piece is loose. We are not through the top though. A little bit of an angle. I'll put the RPM in the middle. That way the wife can see it, and if we're going fast, she can yell at me to slow down. Oh yeah, that'll fit perfectly. Kind of help hold this little vinyl or whatever covering from flapping around. All right, let's drill this hole. There we go. 2 speed holes, nice and drilled. Sucks, that's kind of, I'll have to vacuum that out. There we go. Now we get the shop vac in here to vacuum this mess up. All right, gauges are in. I think those look pretty cool. I got the steering wheel, be, you know, over there. Yeah, little cockpit teaser. I'm gonna keep the original horn button, and I got a new pull-out switch for everything else. That will turn power on to the gauge and stuff. Yeah, looks pretty good. Here's the tools I like to use for doing wiring. Wire strippers. I use this for crimping because it's nice, and you know, a lot of the crimps are in here, like on this one, and they're a pain in the butt to get, you know, on the wire. This, you can just put it on your crimp and go. You don't have to slide it through the back, so that makes it a lot easier. And then a nice pair of dikes, and then I get these bare butt connectors, and then pre-cut shrink wrap tubing. That's what I like to use. No soldering. Soldering belongs in your house, not on something that, you know, isn't in controlled climate. So yeah, let's start the joys of wiring. Yippee. Alright, so I got these gauges hooked up. I just got to shrink wrap the wiring. Got them all into the plug over here that plugs into the controls. So that'll take care of the gauge wiring. Got the horn button wiring right there. Got one of the, I actually think this is the horn, and then all the way up there is the nav lights. So gotta get that all hooked up. Gotta put that switch in, and then we can move on to, like, there's a separate wiring harness for the trim control and the one, that main one that goes to the engine. So, which both of them have to get shortened because they're like 2 miles long. Little update here for you guys. Don't look like it, but I got all the wiring done. Got the horn wires coming through right here. There's the light on the nose of the boat. I got this light switch right here. So you pull that out, all the lights will come on. The GPS speedo, got the tack. These two are being powered off the same connector that goes into the controls. But the light itself is in with the regular light switch, and then I got the horn. Horn's just a momentary button right here. That'll always have power, so I can honk at people and flip them off if I need to. So yeah, I'll have to obviously do some cable management under here because this looks like crap. Don't want to let this crap dangle, you know. You let this stuff sit and flop around, next thing you know, you're gonna have a chafed wire, and you know, either your lights just won't work or it'll burn your boat down. So you gotta make sure nothing's gonna bounce around. Getting a little ahead of myself. I think film a little update video on the wiring. Got the motor wiring hooked up. Travels pretty good. I'm hoping I can maybe put some kind of sleeving over this or something to make it look a little better. I put the battery cables down that side. Put the battery over on this side, help even the weight out. Seems like I'm moving stuff around. Alrighty, big moment here. everything should be wired up. I believe the key is off, everything's off, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook everything up. This is for the lights. I'm just gonna put this on. This is just for the bilge pump. I already tested that. And then here's the main power. Boom! No smoke. I gotta get that nut on for a second here. No sparks or nothing, so that's good. Loosely got those on nice and loose. All right, everything's hooked up there. Let's oh yeah, tilt and trim still works. That's good. Oh yeah, can see the lights on for that gauge. And then turn the key on. Oh yeah, look at that. Gauge is coming to life. It's not, I don't have the antenna in. I gotta put the antenna in. It's down there. She should turn over. Make sure I don't have anything. Yeah, nothing's laying on it. Will she turn? Oh yeah. Right on. Just gotta tidy everything up. I gotta stuff all that stuff in. I'm gonna use, I hope they hold up. If they don't hold up, I'll get stainless steel ones. But I got these, just these cheap nylon cable clamps. I'm gonna use those. I got some stainless steel washers. I'm gonna put them on these studs. These are just the studs that hold the bumper on. So that'll tidy everything up nice. And I'll be able to have all the cables held up by that too. So she'll turn out good. We're pretty much done. I'm waiting on the steering cable. Hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next clip we're putting that dang steering cable on. Alrighty. Got the battery all mounted nice and tight. Tucked up all the wiring. Kind of see it up in there. That cable's gotta kind of hang loose just so the motor can turn. But yeah, it's pretty clean. You got to do the steering next. Just get you a clip under the dash. It's all nice and tidied up. So yeah, it's looking real good. Put the steering on, and then I got to change the gear case on the outboard. Not much left to do, boys. Motor's back there turning. We got steering. Only thing left now is to change out the gearbox on the lower unit, put some spark plugs in it, and I got a little portable gas tank I'll throw in here. We gotta figure out the weight balance before we decide where the gas tank's gonna go. Getting a little ahead of myself. Figure I should stop and show you guys. So this is why I'm changing out this gear case. I mean, this skag part ain't a problem. You could just bang that straight and it'd be all right. But this is going to cause the exhaust gases to come on the outside of the prop and give you cavitation. But the bigger problem is, she has a lot. Well, I have some of the stuff taken out, but basically it has like a 1/4 inch of shaft play in it, which is can't talk. Bueno. It's no good. So yeah, we gotta swap that sucker out. Got the new used one right there. That's pretty minty looking, so hopefully it's all good and holds water out. So yeah, we'll get to swapping this sucker out. Oh, there's the impeller that was in the motor. It's pretty beat up. They've definitely ran this thing out of water before I got it, and all melted in there. This is all worn. Kind of cool they put 70 horse on there, so got nothing but the best to go back in her, so start swapping parts out. Alrighty, she is all set and ready to go back in. Hopefully I got this height right. It's some weird measurement. You're supposed to have a special tool, but it's like 21 and yeah, right here. 21.72, so a fuzz under 3/4. So that's where I got her set to. Wish me luck. Hopefully she shifts. Getting ready. Vacuuming in or out.
Can I go to the ball now?
Yeah.
Can I go to the ball? Prince is gonna be there.
I am your prince. Alrighty, guys. Wife got her all cleaned and spick and span. She's ready for a test strip. We're gonna fire the motor up on the hose and make sure she runs good. And head to the river to see how she runs. Alright, see if she still runs. Time to hit the water. Alright, got twin brother Jake with me. Say hi, Jake.
Howdy.
She's sitting good, boys.
Ready to rip.
Ready to frickin' rip. Alright, we'll hop in her and get going. Well, we're out of prop, guys. She's over revving damn near to 6,500, which is too much. It's supposed to be at like $5 grand, so definitely need to mount the gas tank up front. Just there's a lot of weight back there. So, but yeah, we'll get on her a little. Hold on. Well, I'd say it's a successful first try, or first test run. Do need a bigger prop though, that's for sure. Easily hits 6,500. This thing's only supposed to hit 5. I'm sure internally it can handle it, but it ain't making peak power, so I'll try to focus on that. Focus. I don't want to focus, but yeah. Did about 35 in her. 10 more miles an hour, so it's pretty good, but I think there's a lot more in it. Get the right prop on her and put the gas tank all the way up in the front. Should work good. Alrighty guys. Well, I'd say it was a successful test ride. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. I'm gonna do a part 2 on like prop testing and kind of fine tuning everything on the boat. So, because I did about 35 on the GPS Speedo. I think it's got more in it. Need a much bigger prop. So, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.